AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Our host brings you the leading minds in AI, sharing their story, their success, and their advice. Focusing on fast-tracking you to the top, AI in Action cuts through the hype to help you kickstart your data science career. To listen to the latest AI in Action podcast, head over to www.alldus.com/podcast or subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts.
Welcome to the AI in Action podcast. I'm your host, Mark Kelly. Today's guest is Serghei Glinca. Serghei is the CEO of Crystalsfirst. Serghei, very welcome to the show.
Hi, Mark. Great to be here on the podcast. Thanks.
Serghei, tell us a little bit about Crystalsfirst and the objective of it and how it really came about.
So if we talk about Crystalsfirst, we need to dive a little bit into the problem of the pharma industry. That's where we're operating. So we're actually solving there a problem in early drug discovery. And initially we entered the market with a technical solution, right? And then we identified that it's a much larger problem in the industry. So what we see is a lot of data is emerging from biology, proteomics, cell-based assays. So there are terabytes of data that are waiting to be analyzed by all kinds of computational methods. And I believe that that's a great achievement for the industry. A lot of biotech companies and tech companies, AI companies are operating there. But the challenge when you have a biological target that you would like to develop a drug for, you need a starting point. You need an idea how a totally novel molecule can look like and address this target efficiently. So unfortunately, computational methods are not there. Maybe with quantum computing, we'll have a different set of tools that could solve this problem on a molecular level. But either we have a very expensive computational pipeline that can identify molecules, which is for millions, maybe possible, but not for billions of molecules. These are the numbers of possibilities for drugs. Or you use computational cheap tools, which is not reliable. So what the industry does is actually starting with experimental points. But what we lack in today's paradigm in terms of data density is structural biology. So this is a huge challenge when you want to design specifically a drug that addresses this particular target and does not hit thousands of other proteins. Structural biology is a helpful tool. And this is a challenge that we solve technically. So we can generate data for structure from structural biology for drug design.
Serghei, for people that don't know what structured biology is, and they wouldn't necessarily come from a kind of a pharmaceutical medical device background, can you shed a little bit of light on that?
Sure. So structural biology is the three-dimensional representation of proteins. So on the molecular level, we are not two-dimensional, we're three-dimensional, so our environment in the cells also is three-dimensional, and all molecules have three-dimensional structure. So structural biology is the representation of molecular machines in our cells in 3D. So when you see it, you can actually look what you would like to block or activate and design specifically for that particular representation of the protein as specific molecule. But that's the holy grail of drug discovery.
So I'm kind of going backwards a little bit, but you originally went in with a technical solution. So did you kind of pivot after some time?
Yes. So maybe I will dive a bit into my background. So I'm a pharmacist. I studied pharmacy, and then the professor where I did the PhD later, in his lectures, he showed actually the data that we now generate, where you see the protein and the drug, and he explained how they interact. And he used this data extensively, which is a bit overwhelming for many people, because you can rotate, you can work with that. But it kind of gave my attention that, and after I finished my studies, I went to the group and started to work purely computationally. So from nothing, I started to learn data mining, programming, with a project with Novartis, and so I became a computational modeler. So that's the link, what we realized. So we started with a technological solution that delivers data, right? Structural 3D data. And then I realized as a modeler, that's a lot of data. Now we can apply computational tools to actually leverage it. And the reason, and then we have the connection, the reason why biotech and pharma companies come to us, they have this problem of starting points. They have the target that they would like to address or block, but they lack the starting point. So we help them to identify this experimental starting point for drug design and combine it with computational methods, how you can expand or make it more specific, the molecule.
So tell us about some of the obstacles you've had to overcome to go through that approach.
The obstacles in the industry are well known. So pharma has done data mining, applying computational tools for decades. So, and they are very good in drug discovery. So the challenge in entering the industry is to identify the 10x, right? The 10x, you're better, you're faster, you whatever, you're cheaper. So having this 10x unique capability of opening some space, because in drug discovery, you actually generate IP, intellectual property, you generate new types of molecules, and communicating them. I think the big obstacle that we overcame is understanding the problem and connecting it with our solution and building the right communication.
Looking at the way the market is going now, do you see any changes within the next 12 to 18 months of significance?
Yeah, I believe so. So you see kind of the tech approach of scaling technologies that work with data is picking up very quickly. And if you look at companies like Recursion and In Vitro that have built this experimental machines to generate data, I think we'll see a lot of progress in identifying new targets, new modalities, new opportunities to address diseases and develop therapeutics. So, and then where the opportunity comes for us, that when you have this target space, what are the tools to design them? And apparently, established screening technologies that have been applied for decades don't deliver those starting points for those targets. And I think new technologies that have the capabilities to generate relevant data and apply tools that can design molecules more specifically. I think this is where the markets are going, being more data-driven, having this data-generating machines, because biology is messy. You need lots of data because it's not standardized. It's very diverse.
When you look at the opportunity in the next 2 to 3, 5 years, do you think that it can be fast-tracked, or is there a way to fast-track this?
I think before you enter clinical trials, you can become pretty efficient today, and we'll see a lot of progress there. But hitting the kind of the wall of the regulatory wall, it slows the process down, and it has historical reasons. So they slow the process down just to make sure that the drugs or the products are safe, because in the past there have been problems with safety of drugs that cause harm to people, to patients. So there is the wall, and you need to consider that this process can be fast-tracked if you have some kind of new modality that works super efficient in a particular underserved disease area. But that's it. The process is very slow and highly regulated.
If you had a magic wand, what would you do, or what would be the first decision you would make to start to help fast track this?
Good question. I think this is a buzzword, at least in Europe, digitization, but it's kind of, the process is slow. If we could, I think my idea would be like monitoring clinical trials more remotely, not only like having a center more distributed. I think this will, with current technologies, accelerate also the process of clinical trials.
All right, thanks, Serghei. So I've been speaking to Serghei Glinca. Serghei is the CEO of Crystalsfirst, and we've been talking about the problems that they solve, the opportunity within the market, some of the obstacles that they've overcome, and what the market could look like in the next 3 to 5 years. Serghei, how can people find out more about yourself and Crystalsfirst?
So the best way to reach out is actually on LinkedIn. I'm a lot on LinkedIn, so it's Serghei Glinca, and I'm happy to connect people who are interested in drug design application of quantum machine learning, especially for drug design and access to structural data. I'm happy to share also advice to people who have idea to start a company in pharma or biotech space.
Serghei Glinca, CEO Crystalsfirst, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, Mark. It was a pleasure.
AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Alldus offer an exec search program. Alldus can help you discover how data science and AI can transform your company. With our unrivaled network of C-suite executives and senior AI professionals, we offer retained search services across the US and Europe. Get the Alldus advantage. Become a member of the Alldus community and enjoy some of the following: AI meetups. Once a month, our community gathers to listen to some of the leading experts in the world of data science and AI. Our speakers come from all over the world, including Dublin, Boston, and Frankfurt. We also have our AI mentors. Our experts will provide mentoring to Alldus members. And don't forget our AI in Action podcast. Each week we have guests from all over the world talking us through their education, career, and more. Become an Alldus member and get the Alldus advantage. For more information and to sign up for our newsletter, log on to www.alldus.com. That's www.alldus.com. Alldus International, empowering through AI.